With the Dallas Cowboys in the NFC Championship against the Philadelphia Eagles, street clothes were an unfamiliar uniform for ex-Cowboy Roger Staubach. For the first time in 10 years, Dallas had entered the postseason playoffs without the services of number 12. But Staubach's successor, Danny White, had proven in 1980 that he could make Dallas forget about their retired hero. The title game featured the matchup between White and the Cowboys' high-scoring offense against the Eagles' conference-leading defense. And on the very first series, Philadelphia made it obvious who would dominate this matchup. The Eagles' defense isn't fancy. They don't survive by stunts and blitzes. They simply keep the opponent from making first downs. With Dallas unable to move the ball, Philadelphia wasted no time displaying their offensive ability. As the Cowboy defense flowed to the right, Wilbert Montgomery, number 31, made an outside move and won the foot race to the end zone. Montgomery, who before the game spent more time in the training room than on the practice field, quickly erased any rumors as to his ineffectiveness. Another look at the touchdown shows that on a play designed to go between the left guard and left tackle, Wilbert saw that the hole wasn't there and quickly found room elsewhere. A third look at the play indicates that Montgomery's daylight wasn't an accident. Eagle tackle Jerry Sizemore, number 76, completely cut off Too Tall Jones, allowing the back plenty of running room. Philadelphia moved the ball effectively throughout the first half, largely due to Montgomery's outstanding performance and the ability of the offensive line to manipulate the Dallas defense as easily as pushing someone wearing roller skates. Randy White, number 54, in 2 previous meetings with Philadelphia, had been everywhere in the Eagle backfield except inside Ron Jaworski's jersey. But in this contest, Jaworski kept one step ahead of the NFL's best linemen with quick dump-offs and screen passes. Although Philadelphia was controlling the ball, several squandered scoring opportunities had left them with only a 7-0 lead. And as the second quarter wore on, the Cowboy defense began to show signs of life. By slowing down the Eagles' running game and reminding Montgomery how good it felt to be lounging in a whirlpool instead of face down on the frozen turf, the defense spurred on the Cowboy attack. Danny White, who had directed Dallas to a league-leading 454 points, orchestrated one of his patented drives deep into Philadelphia territory. Tony Dorsett, who was neutralized for much of the half, capped the drive with this short touchdown blast. The score tied the game at 7-7 and provided the only bright spot in what would prove to be a very dull day for number 33. While Dorsett's afternoon would turn dismal, Montgomery's would become starlit. Philadelphia quickly reversed the momentum with the running of Wilbert and the blocking of Leroy Harris, who took out 2 Cowboy linebackers, allowing Montgomery to get outside for a substantial gain. The run once again set up a scoring opportunity for the Eagles, and Ron Jaworski promptly hit Harold Carmichael for an apparent touchdown. Unfortunately for the Eagles, the play was wiped out by a holding penalty. And although the half ended with the score tied at 7, Cowboy coach Tom Landry seemed to sense that Philadelphia's dominance would eventually put his Super Bowl hopes in the deep freeze. Although the Cowboys were fortunate to be tied with the Eagles at the start of the second half, that didn't prevent Dallas's Charlie Waters from spinning some tall tales. The Eagles' 6'8" Harold Carmichael has become accustomed to such rhetoric from America's team and assured Waters that Philadelphia would make short work of Dallas in the game's last 30 minutes. Dallas appeared ready to back Waters' boast. Danny White, who had thrown for only 37 yards in the first half, can be an explosive quarterback, as Atlanta learned the previous week. Eagle fans feared a repeat of White's devastation of the Falcons. But the Eagles proved to be tougher birds as they virtually shut White out for the rest of the game. The Eagles' defense really began to dominate the Cowboys' offensive line. Dennis Bigfoot Harrison recovered the fumble on the Dallas 11-yard line. Another look at the play shows Carl Hairston, number 78, easily overpowered Pro Bowl selection Pat Donovan to dump White. Philadelphia overmatched the vaunted Cowboy offensive line all day long, and this play resulted in a Tony Franklin field goal to make it 10-7 Eagles. Tony Dorsett was the victim of the Eagles' key defensive play of the game. Dorsett is an excellent back with a history of fumbling, and Philadelphia made history repeat itself. Linebacker Jerry Robinson used his halfback speed to advance the ball to the Dallas 38-yard line. Another look at this play in slow motion shows why the Eagle defense allowed the fewest points in the NFL this season. Pursuit by the Eagles' front line forced Dorsett to run parallel to the line of scrimmage. Rookie Roynell Young, number 43, stripped him of the ball. The Cowboys had no turnovers in the first half, but they lost 3 fumbles in the second stanza. Jerry Robinson scooped up this one. The Eagles' defense had been intimidated by the Cowboys in their previous game, but Philadelphia held the whip this time around. Robinson, an outside linebacker in only his second year, receives strong consideration for All-Pro honors this season. Considered by many pro scouts to be too small for the NFL at 6'2", 218 pounds, Robinson has made a big contribution to the Eagles' drive this season. Philadelphia has breathed new life into the old Lombardi adage, championships begin with defense. The Eagles' offense fulfilled its part with 263 yards rushing. Wilbert Montgomery got 55 of these on this play. The second look shows that Montgomery was sprung by the block of Jerry Sizemore, number 76, on Charlie Waters. Montgomery had 26 carries for 194 yards, the second highest total in NFC championship game history. Another Eagle, Steve Van Buren, holds the record. Montgomery also became the first back to gain 100 yards against the Cowboys in 29 playoff games. Fullback Leroy Harris, normally a blocker, scored the only touchdown of the second half to make it 17-7 Eagles. Leroy Harris is typical of the 1980 Philadelphia Eagles. Though largely unheralded, his stout heart and unselfish play have helped forge the team's excellence. Philadelphia defeated Dallas 20-7 for their first NFC championship in 20 years. Once scorned as the joke of the league, The Eagles are showing their tail feathers to the rest of the NFC on their way to the Super Bowl.